My name is Ernest Thomas. I was born in a place called Fountain Mills, Maryland, which is a part now of Ivesville, Maryland. And I was raised in Mount Airy, Maryland. And my mother did domestic work, and my father worked on the railroad. And then he worked for AEC in Montgomery County. Well, in Fountain Mills, Maryland, which was in Frederick County, I went to the Lincoln High School in Frederick. And that was first and second grade. And then my mother married, and we moved to Mount Airy, Maryland. And I went to a little old one-room schoolhouse. And Mr. Dowry, Melvin Dowry, was the teacher. And he taught from the first through the sixth grade in that little one-room schoolhouse. And after the third grade, we moved to Runkles Road in Mount Airy, Maryland. And then I was bused to the old Robert Moton School on Church Street for the fourth grade. And then the school closed, and around 50, this school opened. And I came here in the fifth grade and graduated from Robert Moton High School here on Center Street. We were bused something like 30 miles one way from Mount Airy, and Mr. Alonzo Lee was the bus driver. And from what I understand, he got no pay for driving that bus. And then he taught school here in the sixth grade. And that's what I remember with my schooling for Robert Moton.
That you didn't have?
Well, it was inadequate. I know that in the community, we had Mr. Mose Ellis, who would come to the old one-room schoolhouse in the community, and he would have a projector, and he would show movies and so forth, you know, because we couldn't go to movie houses, and we couldn't go to the restaurants. But the community was really oriented. And I can say that a lot of the teachers were dedicated here at Robert Moton High School. They had compassion for the students, and they were very sincere. And you could tell that they were professionals. And also by the way that they dressed, you know, the women would come in a dress and high heels, or she would have a two-piece suit on, you know, looking good. And the men would come with a suit on and a tie, or slacks and a sport coat and a tie. They really looked good, and to me, they impressed me more than the president. The teachers were it. And not only that, in the community, they came and they were in the community with us. Mr. Dowry, I remember when we had youth fellowship in the churches. And the youth would go to the various houses, and we would go to Mr. Dowry's house sometimes. We would go to Kersey Jones's home. Sometimes they would be in my mother's home, Miss Ethel's home, and they just stuck with the community. They taught Sunday school in the churches, Mr. Dowry and Mr. Jones. Mr. Dowry had a softball team, and the boys in the community, he had them on the team, and so we had a good time with teachers and so forth. Everything took place in the community.
So as far as entertainment, what were the things in the community that would invite you in?
Entertainment?
Yes.
Entertainment, we had mainly church. We had socials, you know, and they were there. Like I said, he had a softball team. And everything happened in the community. And I'm talking about black neighborhoods. And that's where we had our fun, that's where we learned, and so forth.
How would you compare,
I guess I'm prejudiced, because nothing can compare to what we got out of Robert Moton. It can't be. These teachers, they did the best they could, even the administration. And it was very disciplined, because they would beat your butt at Robert Moton High School. If you acted up or whatever, they'd beat your butt or crack your knuckles or whatever.
and when you talking about beating yourself,
And the good thing about it, as far as the teachers working in the community, being in the community, seemed like the word got home before you did,
yes, it is.
that you acted up, you know. And then when you got home, you could have gotten another beating.
Attacked you.
Now in some schools, I've heard before where social workers would tell the children, I mean small children, if you even think that your parents are going to hit you, dial 911.
Yeah.
You know, things like that happen. Well, to me, way back then, you didn't have the equipment you have today to remove snow. And so the snow stayed on the road for quite a long time.
Well, Ernest,
Well, my experience was that I was an assistant coach for Little League in Mount Airy, for the children's basketball teams. I was assistant coach for soccer. So a number of people in Mount Airy knew me. And one day there was an accident on Route 27. And I think a person had a heart attack in the car, and he came across in front of me. And of course, I hit the car. And he slumped over in the car. And a number of policemen knew me. But this one, when he came to the accident, he came across the street like he was going to do something to me. And one of the other policemen said, no, you don't want to touch him. And but they're just experiences that I had, yeah.